The last week before New Year always feels strange. The city starts changing its mood, but the year hasn't ended yet. Celebration is close, yet something feels unfinished, as if time itself is holding its breath. This happened when 5 days were still left before New Year. It was late at night, around 12:30 a.m. The house was silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence, the heavy kind, the kind that presses against your ears. I was alone in my room, lights off, phone on the bed beside me, headphones on. I had a habit of listening to horror stories at night. They distracted me. They made the darkness feel controlled. That night, the story playing was slow and calm. The narrator's voice was deep, steady, almost comforting. My eyes were half closed. My body was relaxed. Then the narrator said something that didn't belong. 5 nights remain. I opened my eyes. The story continued like nothing had happened, but my heart had already started racing. I told myself it was just part of the script. Horror stories use countdowns all the time. But a few seconds later, the voice said it again. 5 nights remain. The audio stopped. I looked at my phone. The timer was still moving. There was no sound in my headphones anymore. Then I heard breathing. Not loud, slow, measured. It wasn't coming from the phone. It was coming from my room. I froze. I didn't move my head. I didn't move my hands. I just listened. The breathing felt close, like someone standing near my bed, trying not to touch anything. A whisper slipped into my left ear. "You're early." I ripped the headphones off and sat up. The room was empty. The door was closed. The window was locked. Nothing had moved. I laughed nervously, trying to calm myself. I reached for the lamp. It didn't turn on. My phone vibrated. A notification appeared on the screen. New Year arrives in 5 days. I stared at it. I hadn't installed any countdown app. The screen changed on its own. Day 1 begins at midnight. The lights flickered. The air in the room suddenly felt cold, sharp, like winter had crawled inside. I pulled the blanket around myself and whispered, "This isn't funny." The whisper answered, "It isn't meant to be." The corner of my room darkened unnaturally. Shadows gathered there, folding into each other, growing thicker. Slowly, something began to separate from the darkness. A shape. Tall. Too tall. It didn't walk. It slid forward, as if the floor didn't matter. Its body looked unfinished, like a human outline filled with moving darkness. Where its face should have been, there was only a faint suggestion of features. "You heard us last year," it said. "I don't remember," I whispered. It leaned closer. "You always say that." The phone vibrated again. Day 1 complete. 4 remain. The thing stepped back and dissolved into the shadow, as if it had never been there. The lights turned on. The room was normal. I didn't sleep that night. The next day I tried to forget it. Stress, imagination, lack of sleep. That's what I told myself. But when night came again, fear followed it into the room. At exactly 12 a.m., my phone vibrated. Day 2 begins. The breathing returned. This time, it came from inside the walls. Scratching followed, slow, deliberate, like fingernails dragging across wood. I pressed my hands over my ears, but the sound crawled straight into my head. Voices joined in, whispering over each other. "Instead of her, you could choose. Stay awake. Don't miss your night." I shut my eyes tight. Something sat on the edge of my bed. The mattress dipped, cold pressed against my leg. If you sleep, you choose for us, a voice whispered. I stayed awake until morning. Day 2 complete, 3 remain. By the third night, I was exhausted. My hands shook, my thoughts felt slow, heavy. I didn't even put my headphones on. At midnight, every mirror in my room went black, not reflective, black. Faces began to appear in them, people I didn't recognize. All of them were awake, all of them were terrified. One face leaned close to the glass. "Don't let it reach 0, it mouthed. The breathing filled the room again. Day 3 complete, 2 remain. On the fourth night, I heard screams, not from my house, from far away, from the city. Sirens followed, distant and constant. My phone lit up with news alerts, accidents, sudden deaths, unexplained causes. Every report happened just after midnight. The whisper spoke gently. Some people don't last the week. Day 4 complete, 1 remains. Tonight is the last night. I'm writing this while it's still quiet. The air feels thick, heavy. The countdown hasn't appeared yet, but I know it will. They want someone awake when the year changes, someone listening, someone ready. If you're hearing this story right now and New Year is days away, pay attention to your nights. If something starts counting, don't answer. And whatever you do, don't stay awake when the last day arrives.